Welcome to the Steve Reeve Podcast with the best moments from the past week and a few things that didn't make it to air. Monday.
Study finds that even retired people hate Mondays. Well, some of them. According to a new survey from YouGov, actually 69%, nice, of retirees don't mind Mondays, but it's still the least liked day of the week across every age group that was surveyed. Everybody agrees in some way that the worst day of the week is Monday. And in fact, there's a very real trend of every day of the week being more enjoyable as they go until the peak on Saturday, a little bit of a drop on Sunday, and then the deep dive into Monday morning. I've got to say, as someone who is unbelievably far from retirement myself, and therefore don't really know what I'm talking about, I think you're doing it wrong. I think that's not the way that you're supposed to be operating. Should I ever have the luxury of retiring in this world, I don't even want to know what day of the week it is anymore. Your schedules won't be able to touch me, even when I'm napping. You know what? Especially when I'm napping. Spotify and Liquid Death let you rock out through the afterlife with an eternity urn. And yes, it has a speaker, of course. But also, yes, it's totally sold out. That's usually the case with these kinds of stunt marketing products. Check eBay, I guess. But the deal is that it has a very real cremated remains urn, and it has a wireless Bluetooth speaker embedded in it to let you, butcher Sweet Child of Mine like it's 2:30 a.m. and you're getting kicked out of the karaoke lounge. But for eternity. They also have a survey I guess you can take. It will result in an eternal playlist of music being generated for you. Probably AI at work, so it might not be a great mix. But this is great for loved ones and great for not-so-loved ones. Think about it. They're going to be way too busy grooving to be able to haunt you.
You're listening to the Steve Reeve Podcast from 100.5 Cruz FM.
It's time for Cruz Music News with Steve Reeve.
AC/DC guitarist Stevie Young has been hospitalized, though he should be fine for tonight's stop on the Power Up Tour. They're down in Argentina. Stevie is the son of Father Stephen Young, who was the older brother of Malcolm and Angus Young, founders of the band. And I guess he was just really not feeling well arriving in Buenos Aires, had to be taken to the hospital as a precaution. Battery of tests, he seems to be doing okay and is back to the groove as of tonight. We hope. Ed O'Brien of Radiohead left in about 2018 and said he was done with Radiohead after he got to a place where he just wasn't enjoying it. He said that was the moment where he decided to go. He says, I'm done with it. I just want another life. They are returning to the stage, though. Late last year, they arrived at several different stops in the UK and across Europe, landing in a residency at the O2 Arena in London. But Ed O'Brien, he kind of came to terms with the end of the band years ago, unlike many fans. Paul McCartney in the news as well, with a couple of admissions ahead of new biopic that's going to be coming, an episode of the Words and Music podcast. He was reflecting on a few different moments in his life in the 70s, like being, in his own words, totally got blasted with cannabis with a musician from Nigeria, and then also talking about the saving grace that he held on to after John Lennon's murder, that he actually did rekindle that friendship with him. And it was over being parents and over how to bake bread. What a thing to hold on to through time, and a positive despite the tragedy that arrived in 1980. If you're from my generation, I'm sure that you saw over the weekend that actor Nicholas Brendan died. That one was rough for me. I was a kid that I grew up with Buffy the Vampire Slayer. First the movie, which is just great, and then so much more the show as I was going through school, into high school and beyond. And that's what Nicholas Brendan was known for, playing Xander Harris in all 7 seasons of the Buffy TV show. There's been a lot of talk of that show recently, not quite getting picked up for another time by Hulu, and then bookended by this sad news. He wasn't perfect. He led a troubled life. I didn't know him, of course, but I did get the chance to meet him once over a decade ago at San Diego Comic-Con. Had the chat, got the photo, and then he asked us each to share a hug with him before we went, if we were into it, if we were, willing. And I'm not going to soon forget that hug because it felt unbelievably genuine. Like he needed that connection just as much as we did. It's a parasocial kind of situation, but I swear he hugged better than family. An old friend also reached out online after learning that he died this weekend, and she said to me that despite the issues that he dealt with, he entertained us so much at such an important time in our lives, and he made the underdog shine and helped teach me that you can laugh through anything. In fact, sometimes you even have to. I hope his family is doing okay.
Tuesday.
Things are getting weird out there. Sure, puppy yoga, kitten yoga, hot yoga. These things just kind of make sense. But then recently there was a whole thing about snake yoga. Not exactly selling it for people who haven't gotten involved, I have to imagine. Yeah, what, there's snakes now? Why not just include all the animals from all of the poses all at once? I'm sure nothing will go wrong. But now I'm reading about a New York workout of sorts, a new trend that is being called sword yoga. That's just badass. By name alone, that makes me immediately assume that it's the stuff that Conan the Barbarian did while learning about the secret of steel and yelling, "Crom!" It's a good movie. It's such a good movie. But this is making people feel empowered, strong, dangerous, maybe. All of these things are very, very cool. They're using double-edged swords, not necessarily sharpened, but still swords to do a number of different movements. Not all yoga. There's other martial arts that are being, kind of drawn from here. Yeah, this one sounds pretty cool. I got to imagine that if you walk into the wrong classroom, you're just trying to go and get set up for your basic yoga. I'm just learning. And the next room over has a whole crew of people just swinging swords around. That's intimidating. But a cool intimidating for sure. Kicking things off with another release of Pet Sounds from the Beach Boys. This to mark the 60th anniversary of the album. I already have this pressed from like the 40th or the 50th anniversary, but they're actually going to be dropping 3 distinct vinyls. One is called the Vinyl File Edition, with the original album in both mono and stereo. There's a Definitive Sound Series Audiophile Edition, and then also a collectible Zoetrope vinyl, special picture disc edition, available to mark that 60th anniversary one day before it actually occurs. The original album released May 16th, 1966. This one released May 15th, 2026. There's a big injury on the head of Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers, though he is laughing it off. First joking on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon that it was incurred after he was fighting thugs off from robbing a sweet old lady. No, actually it didn't happen that way. It was a bizarre peeing accident, as he describes. He was doing a radio show for Apple Music, and he only had 3 minutes before the next song needed to be introduced. So he thought, oh, that's enough time to get down to the bathroom, ran all the way, got to do his business, and then as he was coming back, with his reading glasses on and everything, full tilt into a glass door. Next thing he knows, he's on his butt, blood spurting out of his head. But he laughed it off with a bandage strapped to the injury, and I think he's going to be just fine. But there is a little bit of backlash going in the direction of the Red Hot Chili Peppers because of the latest documentary to arrive on Netflix. It is called Our Brother Hillel, all about the late guitarist, founder of the band, Hillel Slovak. The controversy comes in where they actually used AI-generated vocals to imitate Slovak on the documentary. Now, unlike other instances of songs of old being taken and put through a machine to separate the music from the vocals in demos from the Beatles, for instance. No. Full Tilt just regenerated the voice, and people are having some feelings about that. That's it for your music news today. I'm Steve Reeve. We've got the plot for a new Homeward Bound movie. If all accounts that I've seen are accurate, a group of 7 dogs, all different breeds, were stolen from a village, happened to be in northern China, but they busted out somehow, and they navigated the distance back home, ending in a happy reunion back at the village 2 days later. And I have had pets go missing. If you've had that experience, you know how rough it is. Most of them returned, but a couple of them in my life never did. And I can tell you that those 2 days felt like 2 years for the owners. But these clips I've been seeing of the 7 dogs at the side of a busy road or walking through a big open field, they've got my eyes magnetized. I can't get enough of this. A corgi seems to be the leader of the pack, keeping all 7 dogs in formation, not even the biggest dog amongst them, even protecting one German Shepherd with an apparent leg injury, kind of favoring one paw, golden retrievers, Labradors, Pekingese, and more. This is wild. And I do think probably go to the Mouse House for this one, for the movie rights. Disney's had, a background in movies like this. I think they could probably do it pretty well.
Wednesday.
All Disney all the time. It seems like we are constantly being fed something or other from the Mouse House. But they actually just walked something major back. That big $1 billion investment into OpenAI, as OpenAI shuts down the AI-Slop video generating app called Sora. You know, the one your uncle has sent you 6,000 videos from, believing they are all real. So don't expect to be writing prompts about your favorite Mouse House characters. Doing whatever your twisted mind can come up with. However, never forget that Steamboat Willie is in the public domain now, so as long as you're willing to put in the work, you can make him do or say anything you want on screen. I mean anything and everything.
What do you mean everything? Everything! Understood.
Hey Alexa, play the Steve Reeve podcast.
Well, there's a phone number that you actually remember, and I'm not talking about your number. It's Jenny's, 8675309. Well, in a very cool move, lead singer of Tommy Two-Tone, Tommy Heath, has teamed up with a couple of different organizations, Cancer Support Community and Gildas Club, to utilize that very number as a national cancer support helpline. It's certainly a memorable one, that's for sure. People will be able to remember it. And we've also got a new book, a photo book filled with over 1,000 images of the Oasis reunion Live 25 tour and all that. It's called Oasis Live 25 Opus, featuring over 1,000 photos from photographer Simon Hammett. And it is almost here. Simon Emmett, my apologies. It's going to be released in May. At least that's when it starts to ship. It will probably take a while to arrive, but judging by just some of the preview images that were captured during this monumental occasion, I think it's going to be worth the wait. And Dexy's Midnight Runners have been waiting to use that name as their moniker for live performances for quite some time. They actually haven't performed as Dexy's Midnight Runners since 2003. But now they've announced not only are they going to be doing that, nowhere near here, but in a 2026 UK and Ireland tour, they've also got a new connection. Heavenly Recordings has just signed them to the label as well. So that makes me anticipate new music. Nothing concrete just yet, but that is it for your music news today. I'm Steve Reeve. What's Stephen Colbert going to do when his show ends in May? Well, the answer is gloat all the way to the bank as he lives his best life writing the next major Lord of the Rings movie. He's the preeminent entertainer with in-depth knowledge of, I'm pretty sure, every single word that Tolkien ever wrote down.
Name me just two of the Valar.
Do you want the Valar of Water, Ulmo, or do you want the Hunter of the Valar, Orome? Or do you want the Valar of the trees, Yavanna? Or do you want the craftsman of the Valar, Alloy? Or do you want the Lord of the Airs, Manwë? Or do you want his wife, Varda, called Elbreth by the elves, who kindled the stars? You come into my house? You come into my house? How dare you?
Yeah, right? He's the guy. I mean, technically, when referring to the individuals of the Valar, you're supposed to just say Vala. But the point is, he's the guy, and we haven't even had a chance to watch the next Lord of the Rings thing that's on the way with Andy Serkis directing. And the next one is already planned. Oh no! More reasons to go visit New Zealand. No!
Transmission over. Want more Steve? New podcast episodes happen every Friday, or just tune into the Steve Reeve Show. Weekday mornings starting at 5:30 a.m. on 100.5 Cruz FM.